Last week on Exploring Off the Grid, the boys tackled the Frenchman's Track, taking it on east to west. There were a few issues at the Pasco, but once that was behind them, they had a pretty good run into camp. The next morning it was straight to the Wenlock and up the gnarly exit, and both trucks managed it with ease.
I love these trucks. It's so cool to get a big machine like that up there. That's good fun.
After airing up and loading up, the lads have decided to make a run for the Hann River Roadhouse to see what owner Woodsy has in store for them.
Getting to Hann River was just on the plans. You know, we planned out the trip, where we were going to go on this trip and where we were going to stay. Now, the one thing we wanted to do was go to places where we could use buggies.
Hann River, all I knew it was as a bit of a campground and a service station. Always thought it was a Hann River, but it's actually Hann River.
How good was Woodsy? You know, we arrived like, it was like he had already knew us. You know, we arrived, we walked in, and he was here with open arms.
How are you? Good, Joe. How you been? Real good, real good.
How are you, mate?
Yeah, good. Good. You survived.
Yeah, made it. Yeah.
Got a bit of dust on you.
Yeah, just a little late. Yeah, it's a dusty old truck.
Windows down.
Yeah.
No air cons.
Oh, no, good.
So, camping tonight? Yes. Absolutely. So I'll just put you in the old house down the back tonight, and we'll talk about it later. If you just come up for tea, you come up for dinner?
Yeah, sounds good.
If you just come up for dinner, we'll talk about it then. I'll show you where to go down the back.
Sounds like a plan.
All right, awesome. I'll go set up and I'll see you.
Thanks, mate.
It was pretty cool. Like, we go through the gates and he said, oh, you go down to the old house. That's where you can camp tonight. So we said to Woodsy, we'll come up and catch up with you for dinner tonight. And maybe you can give us a bit of a mud map. Anyway, we're there having some tucker and he comes over with his little map that he drew himself. You know, took it off Google and then drew lines all over it.
There's two roads here. One on the other side of the river, which is ours, boundaries that way, and the one up there. These are two water holes. They also have Barra. They flood, also have crocodiles.
Oh, cool.
So, yeah. But every deep water hole on the river has Barra.
But, you know, he's been a local up in Cape York for a long time, before he bought this place. So he knows the place. He worked here before he even bought the place.
As soon as we got up, we had a bit of brekkie, a few coffees. Jamie had 4 or 5, as per normal. And then we jumped in the buggies, fishing rods in.
The plan today, we just want to get in the buggies, throw some swags in, go and find some Barra if we can. Just broke a front eye on my rod. I don't really have too many landlined rods for doing a bit of Barra fishing. Now today, we're going to go on a bit of a recce. We're going to go and see, there's a few water holes here. It has been very cool, but they tell me there's quite a few Barra in these water holes, so we'll go and have a look at the pools and see what we can find. But at the same time, we'll see if we can find a decent camp down there tonight, and if we can get the trucks there, we'll take them down too. So we'll see what happens. You know, I used to always ride a quad, and then the new rules come out where you've got to have a bar and all this sort of stuff for safety. And then I went from the quad to a buggy, and the Defender, unbelievable. My Defender is so much fun out in these sort of tracks, and just getting in and out, it's really quick and simple. And the Polaris, well, it's just a hell of a lot of fun. So we're following this map, and the map's got these little pools on it. Anyway, we get to the first one, and you can see now that they're like a dam. So they're an overflow from the creek when it's in wet season, the water's up and it just flows over the top. Well, we've got a few more water holes to go and check out. So not much happening in this one. But this is the overflow from the wet season that they've had up here, which wasn't too great.
Yeah, so look, Woodsy said there'll be plenty of fish down in some of the holes there. I didn't have any high hopes of that. Shocking fisherman that I am, so I didn't expect anything at all.
Well, I'm no flash fisherman. I've got a simple setup. I've got a jungle stick with a Shimano reel. It's a bait caster, and I use a gold bomber. The gold bombers have worked for me many, many times up here in the Cape. So it's just a go-to lure that I use every time. Well, how good were the tracks to get to these water holes? Like, he was on the money with that map. That map was pretty cool. Like, where he put the concept of having these water holes, they were pretty well there. We went in, we didn't have much luck because, I mean, the temperature was pretty cool on the water, but you could see exactly where we were going. We had a lot of fun getting to the places because the tracks he's got in here and the campsites he's got in here are amazing.
Yeah, so we got out the back and we found a couple of water holes. We flicked the line there. We went out through the old swamp. Old Aussie, the emu, was following us all the way through the whole time. That was pretty cool. Finally got to the swamp and yeah, we couldn't see the track any longer.
So the camera crew are off. They're heading to the swamp. I think the main idea for them was to get us stuck, or think that they could get us stuck. But the thing was, they got themselves lost. So the next minute we see the drone go up. Oh yeah, this is why we're doing circles. Yep, the drone's up in the air. We are lost. And then they call us on the radio and go, guys, can you see a track out of here? No, we can't see any tracks out of here. They're like, it's a swamp. And you can see the pigs have been running amok in here and everything.
Finally got to the swamp and yeah, we couldn't see the track any longer. So yeah, we threw the drone up just to help find our way back out. So we want to cut through that.
Out towards the salt pans over there, and following this up to there. It's going to have to push a track through.
Yep.
And there are little tracks through there all the way through, but
we might link up with something on the way, and yeah, if not, we'll just push through steady.
You can keep aiming for that.
Sounds like a plan.
Drones.
Then they say it's this way, so we start following. And I'm in the Polaris, and the Polaris is a bit wider, you know. So I'm sitting really snug, tight on all these little limbs and trees, and trying to follow these guys. And then I've got to take another route round because they've got in between the tree, and I can't get between that tree.
Is there anything good, mate?
I got nothing good to say at the moment, not a thing, except for old Aussie. He's following along.
Yeah, look, we ended up getting a bit lost out there, so we got to the swamp. We couldn't find the track. So yeah, once the drone went up, we had a bit of a bearing to follow. Pushed a new track through. Had to push a few small trees over, dead ones, and yeah, we finally come out and found an existing track and find our way out. So it wasn't too bad in the end. So Jamie, big day searching the tracks.
It has been.
Hann River Roadhouse.
Yep.
Dry and dusty.
Very.
I reckon we go back to that creek where we first come in, have a splash, clean
Sounds
off.
like a plan to me.
Yep.
Yeah, absolutely. Your face needs a good wash.
Oh, I know. It's dusty and dry.
Yep.
So down for a swim, clean up, back for a cold beer.
Sounds good to me.
Righto, let's go.
You know, like we're belting around these tracks. We're not going that fast, but the bull dust and dust that Rick throws up, oh, I'm just wearing it all. Anyway, we pull up in this creek bed and it's a running little rapid of water. So it's nice and shallow. We can see all the pools of water in there, and it's always great to have a dip in those sort of places.
Yeah, so look, it's afternoon now. We've got our camp set up down by the river. It's just behind me here. Couple of beers, fire's going. Yeah, swags are ready. So Jamie and I camp the night out here, and yeah, we'll hopefully catch some Barra tomorrow. We'll see what happens.
The next morning, the boys decided to give up on getting that big Barra and instead decided to load up the buggies and start heading east towards Cooktown, but not before checking out old Laura on the way.
Yeah, so this morning we left the Hann River Roadhouse. What a great camp there with Woodsy. That was really great to stay exploring the back of his property there and running the buggies around. Went out and camped in the buggies there for a night. That was a fantastic spot, so I really enjoyed that. So today we're heading for Cape Melville. on our way to Cooktown.
You know, it's always great to get to the old Laura Homestead because, you know, it brings back the times of thinking about how they did this.
Yeah, old Laura Homestead. I've been there once before, and yeah, it's interesting bit of history to walk around, see the old meat shed, the old homestead obviously, and the old sheds. The old Chevy Blitz in the front was pretty cool.
Well, the old Laura Homestead is a place you must come and visit. It's only about 110 kilometres from Cooktown, and it's an old establishment found by two old Irishmen back in 1879. And the one thing about it is it's had to be self-contained. Now, there was a gold rush here for quite some time, so they had to have a blacksmith here, they had to have a meat house here, as you can see in the background there. They had to be fully self-contained, and they even had to keep the old police horses here. So, you know, it's one of those remote areas, but you've got to come and check it out.
After leaving Old Laura, the map is taking Jamie, Rick and Jono north through the Lakefield National Park on their way to the Wakuka track, which will take them up towards Cape Melville.
You know, that's the one thing I love about Cape York is when you're heading up there to Cowpow Crossing Way, you'll see the termite mounds, and they're littered all the way through the bush, all different kinds of ones, big round ones to the big pointy sharp ones. Just incredible. Well, we finally made it down to Cowpow Crossing here. I don't know how deep it's going to be, but this takes us into Melville National Park. Now, what I do believe is there's a resident croc sits down here. So there's definitely no fishing because they don't want to encourage the crocs around here. Now, you probably only see it in the afternoons or in the mornings, but you've always got to keep your wits about you and be aware of them. Stunning though, absolutely beautiful. Oh look, got a little fish even going over the leaf, over. That's gold. Look at that, eh? That's absolutely gorgeous. A few potholes though. Well, we'll go and get to a ripper of a campground after we do a challenging little track.
How good is this? We've been travelling some pretty dry and dusty roads. Now it's just opened up to some beautiful green grass on the side, some low-lying swamp areas. Yeah, this is very different to what we've seen the whole trip, so really nice.
Going to Cape Melville, we got through Cowpow Crossing. It was pretty cruisy up to that point, nice little river there. So we're poking into the track in Cape Melville, and she was slow going. Got tight, branches, trees were overhanging the track. So I don't think any big rigs had been in there, the size that we were attempting to take in there. So very, very slow, hard going.
Well, we're on our way into Cape Melville. Track's starting to get a bit tighter now as we get along. I'll give you a bit of a look out through the front. So, towing the trucks through here, towing the trailers. Yeah, it's getting a little bit more interesting.
Well, I don't think anyone realised how much or how long the Cape Melville track was going to take us. Because, you know, you can look at it and go, oh yeah, 40 kilometres. We can go over there, we can go and set up camp. We should be there for an early afternoon. Shouldn't be too bad at all. But then we start going in, and then we look at the speedo and we're doing 10 and 15 kilometres an hour. Slowing down, stopping, weaving, ducking, all through the trees and branches. But at the same time, that's what exploring is, and that's what going these places is. Fantastic.
The boys were towing the buggies and the trailers. I was quite happy that it wasn't towing. because it was really, really tight going.
Yeah, so towing through that track, look, had my time again, I probably wouldn't, especially the width of the big trailer. Something narrow is probably not too bad, but yeah, it takes it out of you having to think and worry about the height of the truck, the width of the truck, and then you're having to worry about a trailer as well. Yeah, it takes its toll, but yeah, probably not.
Cruising along and heard this clunking noise. I thought, oh, I picked up a stick or something. And there's something jammed under the front. So I was secretly hoping it was going to be a stick, but I had that feeling that was more than just a noise. It was a bit more serious than a stick being stuck under the can.
Yeah, as we're heading to Cape Melville, I thought it was only a few kilometres, so I thought, oh, next bend will be there, and it seemed to go on forever. But yeah, eventually we finally got there quite a few hours later than I thought it would take, and but once you get there, wow, what a spot.
So we finally got there. We've come up to the sand dune, and then we've peeked over the sand dune, and oh, the ocean. It is beautiful, and not only beautiful, it's alive with fish jumping and all sorts of things. You know, it was amazing. And then we go down the side track along the top of the headland there, and we set up camp for the night. And it's sunset, and what a beautiful sunset we had. So I don't know about you guys, but I gotta say, this is one heck of a cracking spot. Now, it's a place you want to come and stay for at least a week. Come self-contained, everything you need, and come and plonk yourself here. And if you like a bit of fishing, make sure you drop your boat in there, because that water is alive.
What a spot, Cape Melville. It's the perfect place to spend a few days relaxing and enjoying the peace and quiet of one of the Cape's lesser known spots. Jamie's up early on a mission to find the monument Woodsy told him about.
Well, it's the next morning, so we thought, well, it's time to pack up. And I said to Rick, I said, look, I really wouldn't mind going to find this monument just to see if we can find it. And maybe you head on out, because you've got the big trailer, you're going to take a bit more time than me, and I'll duck up the beach and just go and see if I can find it. Anyway, so off we go. I go up the beach in the Navarra and get up to the very top of Cape Melville, the tip, look around in the rocks, can't find it. Then it was only that we noticed a marking on the HEMA of where it was. Right, we found a track, wandering into it now. Now what we've heard is about a 15-minute walk. So we'll head on in, see if we can find this. It's a place where I reckon if you're going for a wander in here to have a look, make sure you wear some enclosed shoes or some good footwear. Well, after the wind we had last night, it was pretty crazy, but to think that they lost over 50 vessels and over 300 men throughout this whole region just in the water is quite incredible. You know, this is a monument that we're not sure if it was put in 1999, but we'll go and find out a bit more information about it.
We left camp the next morning in the canter to get out to the Stalker track, the beginning of it. Canter got out onto the main road, same thing, in and out of 2 or 4 drive. Then something didn't feel right. The steering was all over the place, noise was still there, so pulled over. So Jamie got on the two-way, so mate, better come and have a look at this truck, eh?
John calls us on the radio and goes, there's something wrong with the steering on this, I'm going all over the road. Well, the Melville track has taken its toll on the big old canter. One of the kingpins gone, one of the bearings in there. Whether it's top or bottom, we don't know yet, but we're going to limp it back and see if we can source something or get something sorted out for it. But it may have to stay there because we probably can't continue on with it because we won't have the parts. But
yeah, we had to come up with a bit of a plan to get everyone back to where we needed to go. So I ended up jumping in the Can-Am and running, I think, well over 200 kilometres that night. Yeah, that was an interesting night. It was long, wet and cold, but we finally got there. It was, interesting.
Well, that's not really the way the guys plan on this trip going. Jamie and John are limping the canter back to Hann River, while Rick and the crew head for Ilham Beach.